May I have a two?
Of course.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Can you please state your name and outfit?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jânio Nazareth, Brasil.
O filme é baseado na autobiografia do mesmo título da escritora e jornalista americana Jeannette Walls. Sucesso entre os leitores, o livro ficou na lista prestigiosa dos campeões de vendas do jornal americano New York Times, 261 semanas. A história mostra Jeannette e a família vivendo entre o amor e os abusos do pai alcoólatra. A jornada emociona e mostra como o ser humano encontra forças para superar os maiores desafios pessoais.
Qual foi a sua impressão da história quando você leu o livro, leu o roteiro? What was your impression when you first read the book or the script?
There's so much heart in this story. It's very powerful. Jeannette is incredibly articulate and expresses this, this journey that her and her family went on from, such a young age through to being an adult, and how she's able to tell the story with love and forgiveness. It really moved me.
I originally read the script. I was kind of unaware that it was a book, and then went back and read it afterwards. But my initial reaction was I related to it much more as a father, having children of my own, and really sort of empathizing with Rex's journey throughout the film. Knowing how difficult it can be to be a parent. And, I think, like, his bad moments are certainly extreme, but there was such heart in his good moments and his trying to connect with his children. And sometimes I think, his intentions with his children were spot on.
Quais foram as maiores dificuldades para traduzir o livro para o cinema? What were the biggest challenges to translate the movie to the big screen?
I mean, the biggest challenge was the fact that this book is so good and it's so full of so many amazing stories that you can't possibly fit into a movie. And so trying to figure out what that through line was going to be for the movie was quite a challenge. But when we started to think of just concentrating on the relationship between a daughter and her father and watching that complicated love story unfold, that's what we ended on in it, and that's when the movie kind of came together.
O que impressionou mais vocês com a história? What impressed you the most after reading about the story? Brie, you want to go first?
Sure. I think what impresses me the most is just how strong this family is and just how strong people are. That's what I'm amazed by constantly when I hear real life stories, is that people are going through incredible things all the time, and that they continue to keep going and to live this life and love, and despite all of the pain and sometimes, tragic circumstances.
Yeah, I think he was resilient in the sense that he had a tough childhood. His mother was not a great mom, and yet, he came through it in many ways. I think he was, it's funny because in some ways I think he was a model father, but then when he drank, he was not such a model father. And it was ultimately his undoing, he couldn't stop the dependence on the bottle. But fascinating guy, interesting ideas.
Como foi para você, emocionalmente, reviver toda a sua história, a sua vida, na hora de escrever o livro? How was it for you emotionally to live again all those moments when it came time to write the book?
It hit me harder than I would have thought it did. I thought I'd come to terms with everything in my past, and when I first wrote the book and first read it back, I was kind of shocked. It was the most difficult thing I'd ever done, is to confront my own past and come to terms with it. But it was also the best thing I ever did for myself. I think that the process of writing is a process of thinking about these things, and all these things that I hadn't wanted to think about for years. And I thought nobody would understand. I thought that, it was so weird and complicated, nobody would get it. And one of the many things I hope I've learned is people are smart and they're good, and they will listen as long as you're willing to be honest.
Você falou que foi a melhor coisa que aconteceu para você escrever e reviver. Por quê? You mentioned it was the best thing that happened to you to relive the story and write the book. Why? Why is it the best thing?
I'd had everything I thought I ever wanted. I was living on Park Avenue. I had a fabulous job. I went on television discussing celebrities, but something was missing. I'd cut myself off from my past. I'd cut myself off from these crazy, complicated parents of mine. And the lessons and the gifts that they gave me. If you cut off the bad, you got to cut off the good as well. And until I was able to accept my parents for the good and the bad, I wasn't able to accept the gifts that they'd given me.
Como a opinião sua a respeito do seu pai foi mudando ao longo dos anos? How did your opinion, your feelings towards your dad change, evolve throughout the years?
When I was a child, I thought he was perfect. I just thought he was Superman. When I got a little bit older, I got very disillusioned. When I became an adult, and particularly when I wrote the book, I came to appreciate the incredible gifts. And there's not a day that I don't miss him. And I suppose that's one of the reasons it was so amazing seeing the movie, is because seeing Woody Harrelson, not just playing my father, but pretty much becoming my father, it was staggering to me. I expected him to do a good job. I didn't expect him to understand him on such a profound level. It kind of blew me away. I was crying, I was sobbing, and he ran over and gave me a big hug. And I was apologizing to him for not fully appreciating him. I knew it wasn't my father, I'm not that, but it was just this sort of out-of-body experience. And he said to me, he said, "It's okay, honey, it's okay, you had to do it, you know. You had to do it or we wouldn't be here." And he said it in my father's voice. And so here I am, a 57-year-old woman, and my long-dead daddy has forgiven me for abandoning him. And it was magical. And I've come to believe that these things in life that you miss will come back to you if you let them.
What a story, a great admiration for you. Can I give you a hug? Can I have a
Oh,
hug?
I would be so honored. Thank you so much.
I admire you
Thank
greatly
you.
and your family
Thank
also.
you.
I told you so. You ain't like me.
I am like you, and I'm glad.